Welcome back to the third episode. So in this episode, we are going to do the get endpoints. We have two endpoints, getting all the contacts from the database and displaying them on the UI, and also getting a single item or a single contact from the database. So we are going to do on those two endpoints, and then they will be the end of that episode. So I'm just going to go ahead. I went ahead and created more contacts. If you go to our database, we only had these two records. We had this first one we used for testing. I'm going to delete this one. Okay, delete this. After deleting, you will see that I will now go ahead and refresh. Okay, and I have created many others. Okay, I created many others. So just go to this form, okay, and create as many as you can. I've created so many. I created about 5, I guess. 1 2 3 4 5 6. So I created the ones we can use. So just go ahead and create so many contacts so that we just work with them in the database. So having done that, let's go back to the API. Okay, let me just minimize this. So we have this endpoint, which was the post. This one is for creating a new record. So this one, creating a new record. So this was for creating a new record. Let's just go ahead and getting a record. Okay, so I can just put this one on top here, getting a record. So want to getting all courses. So this one, getting all records, and in this case they are contacts. So just going to say export async function, and the function is get. Okay, the function is get. You don't need a request. Okay, so what you're just going to do, also are going to do a try catch. So just come here and you do a try catch, and in the catch we can do the same thing we did in this catch. So I'm just going to copy what we did in this catch. I will not reinvent the wheel. Just come here and copy this, paste it there. We have to change few things. Okay, for instance, the error here is failed to fetch contacts, failed to fetch contacts. So here it failed to fetch the contacts, and then you can also console the error, and then the message here, failed to fetch contacts, failed to fetch also contacts, and then the error is error.message, and the status is also 500. So that is okay. And then in the try is what we now fetch. Okay, so we're going to say const contacts. Okay, const contacts is equal to, so we say await. So we are await db dot. Okay, so db we call the contact. Okay, so this is the name of the model, db.contact dot find. So there is this find many function, find many, just like that, db.contact.find many, as simple as that. Okay, after getting them here, we can return them in the response. Okay, we can just say return, okay, next response dot JSON. Okay, we can return contacts, as simple as that. You can put a comma and you also put a status if you want, but just keep it simple. We just say next response dot return dot JSON, and we return only the contacts. And you will find all this inside the blog. Okay, the get is here, you'll get the I will update with the real stuff. Okay, I will update with the real endpoints that we are creating. These ones were examples. Okay, so it just get here, you see it is find menu function is what you use, as simple as that. So after we have gotten this, we can go ahead and create a function that is going to fetch this one. Okay, so in the libs folder, you can just create a function. So you can just say get contacts. Okay, get contacts.js, just like that, and you can just create export default function get contacts, and what you want to just do a fetch. So const, okay, courses, not courses but contacts is equal to await fetch. Okay, await fetch, and then just make this one async. So we just create this function that is going to help us actually get all the stuff so that we can use it in our components. Okay, now I would have fetched this direct in our components, but I just simply want to be using this function wherever you want it. Okay, so you just come here and you could say const this, and this is how we fetch data server side. So we want to say fetch await fetch, and we are going to say HTTP. So we can just go here, localhost, here, Control C. Let me just put this one here, and you can just say API, and here contacts. Okay, you can just do something like this. Contacts is await, and then we want to pass in a parameter that will help us to get the data immediately that has been created. Okay, so you can just say comma, and you pass in here cache, and then you can just say no store, just like this. Okay, so every time we just get, it will be pulling the new contacts from the database. So you can just pass in this cache no store, because by default when you pass in the fetch, this fetch that is in Next.js, it has cache set to store, so it stores the cache all the time, and to be fetching from the cache. But we want to be fetching direct after creating a new contact, we fetch it. Okay, and one thing we forgot after creating here this, it should go and redirect to it take us to this home page here. Okay, we are going to look at that. It should not create contact, it should take us to this page here where we are loading the contacts. After creating their side, it should bring us here. Okay, and so we are getting the contacts await fetch, and we can just say return. So we can return, okay, contacts contacts.json, as simple as that. I guess this was the response. Okay, this is going to be response, and you can save contacts into this. So you can say contacts is equal to this contact.json. Okay, and then here we can return contacts, just like that. So you can create this function anywhere. You can even create it in a component, so long as it is a server component. Okay, so long as it's a server component, you can create this function there, but it is always good you organize them here, like in the libs. You can put this function there, just like this. Okay, so after getting this, what we want is, first of all, let's test in the browser if this is working, and you can test by going to localhost. So duplicate this in the browser. You can test the get endpoint, go to API, API contacts. So you can see if this is really returning back the contacts. So you can just go here in the browser, if you go to this endpoint and see if it returns data, and you can see all the data that for the contacts is here. All this is the data that we have in the database. So what we need right now is getting this data and bringing it here onto this UI. So if you go to contact list, under contacts, the page, we have this contact list. So we can bring this data here and we send it on the contact list. Okay, so I'm just going to go to this and I'm just going to say const, okay, const contacts is equal to await get contacts, just this thing we just created here. And as simple as that, we also make this one async. Okay, so by just doing this, we have our contacts and we can now send them to the contact list. So I'm just going to say contacts is equal to contacts, just like that. We can send this data to the contact list using this prop contacts. Okay, now we are sending it to the contact list. Go to the contact list and receive it. So I'm just going to come here, say contacts. So here we are receiving it, contacts, and then we can just simply come here and do the mapping. So remove all these ones. Okay, and now I'm just going to say a minute. I'm just going to say, let me cut this. So just come here and say contacts dot map, and you have access to a single contact, just like that, and want to return the contact. So down here, return the contact, and we can give it this contact. So give two things, key. So we give it a key which can be contact.id, and then we also give it the contact. So you say contact is equal to contact. So I want you to see how the data is moving. So data, we just get it, all of the data we just get from contacts, we map through, we get a single contact, and this single contact, we send it to the contact component. So this contact component, we are sending the contact and as contact. So it is going into this. Now we can go ahead. Inside the contact. Okay, we can go ahead inside the contact here, just like that. We have the contact, and only at this point, contact. At this point, even before I put the actual data, if I just go onto the UI, okay, if we go to the UI, it should be able to go through and give us the amount of cards that are equivalent to the one we have in the database. Okay, access to contacts before initialization. So there is a wait. Sorry guys. So just go to this function. It is in the get contact. So this one is supposed to be await. Okay, it has to await this response to come back. Okay, and it is a response. Okay, so it has to wait this response. So it is contacts is equal to await response.json. Okay, and with that, the error should be gone. Now we are going to add one thing. Now you can see the cards have increased. Okay, we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and these are equivalent to the ones we have in the database. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So you have 7 items. That means we are getting all these 7 and we are rendering them onto the UI. So right now is actually feeding in the actual data. Okay, we feed in the actual data and then we'll be good to go. One more thing I want to put is the loading, so that when we are just like refresh, it takes some time for this data to come. So I want to put a loader or a spinner or something like that. So what I'm just going to do, in the app, create a new file called loading. Just called it loading.js, just like that, and run rfc, and then export function called loading. Okay, so I'm just going to come here and I say class name. So I want to get this bg slate, maybe 900. Okay, flex, so you just say flex, justify center, and also item center, and let's give it a semi height of screen. So whatever we put inside here is going to be what is going to be inside. And let me just go and get this button, the default export of loading. Okay, I think this one is gone now. So right now it is showing loading, and now want to put a loader. So go back here and I can put this loading data, this spinner here. You get it? You can just put a loading spinner or loader. There is, I guess there are so many. Use the spinner component. They have so many. You can just use the one of the button, or you can just put this the spinner itself alone. They have so many. You can just choose which one you want to use. I think we should put the one of the button. So yes, a loader, and let me just choose the one of the button which has the text. Okay, let me choose one which has the text, this one. Okay, just copy this, the one we used, copy this, and inside here paste it. Okay, I don't know if I copied the right one. Did I copy the right one, guys? Let me just scroll up to the loader. Okay, it is this one. Just copy this one, copy that, and let's just replace it with this. Okay, this one, remove this, let's put this one, and here just say loading data or loading contacts. Okay, just like that, loading contacts, and now we have it nicely done from a button. So every time we try to load the contacts, you see loading contacts, this one will always come and then it disappears. As simple as that. That's how you put this loader here. You create a component, and whatever you want to design in the component is whatever that will show up. Okay, so this is great. Let's go ahead and put the actual data into this one. So we'll get one error, but let's just first reach on it. So let's go to contacts. Here we have the contact list. We are sending this data for the contact list. We are mapping through it. Okay, we map through the contacts. We give this contact and we give it to this component contact, and then we go to this content, the contact itself. It is receiving this contact object. So first, let's fill in this one. Okay, the href. So this one is going to be like this. Okay, it goes to contact. Let me just use the backticks here. I want to use the backticks, so we go to contacts/id. So to go to the ID, we want to put this one dynamically, which is contact.id. So put shift dollar, you say contact.id, as simple as that. So here we send contact.id, which is on this. Then we move down to the image. So the image, we named it profile. So remove this. So remove this and we say contact dot profile. Okay, then this one you can use the name on the alt. You can just say contact dot name, fill in that. We can go ahead on the name, we put the name, which is contact dot name, and then the email, which is contact dot email, contact dot email, and then finally the phone, which is contact dot phone, contact dot phone, as simple as that. So now I expect one problem. Let's reload this, and I think it is going to reload by itself. I just reload. So loading contacts, it is loading contacts. Okay, let's see, and yeah, we have an error. And this error is saying invert source prop, and this is because by default, if you're having images like are coming from hosted like from Cloudinary or any other website, you must first you must configure it under images in the Nox config. So by default, the Next.js protects us from unauthorized websites. So you must clarify, or you must authorize that website in the config. So just copy this host name, copy the host name, this one, right click, copy. I'm just going to go to my Next.js config, which is here, nextjs.config, and inside here I'm just going to put a key, which is images, and under images you can also put another one called domains, and then inside the domain put an array that is containing the domain or the list of domains that you want authorized. So you want to authorize this one. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to restart the app. Okay, I'm going to restart the app, so Ctrl C, and then restart yarn dev. Wherever you make changes in the next config, you can always restart the server so that it takes the changes in the next config. Okay, so let's wait for the app to start. Okay, it started, and let's now reload this page here, and now I can go on the full screen. Okay, let's just wait here, wait for it. So we are waiting for the server to load that page. Okay, let's just wait for a second. Just wait for a second. Okay, it seems now loading contacts. You see a nice spinner here. Okay, you can make the background also to be gray. So we have all these things coming from our database, guys. Okay, we have all these images coming from the database. Okay, we have all these images coming from the database here. So this fetching the data on the front end is finished. Okay, fetching the data on the front end is finished. You can just simply now go ahead and we move on to the next. Okay, so if you want to work, you can work a little bit on these images so that they fit in inside those cards, but I'm just going to leave them just like that. Okay, you can just go ahead and give the width and height. Okay, and then it will be good to go. So now what we want is, if I click on this one, and which should be now already showing in the link, if I click on a single item like this, okay, it should take me to this and check the URL. So the URL is already having the ID. Okay, so you can see here it is already having the ID just like this. Okay, so we can fetch now data for a single item. Okay, and if you just go inside this one and you scroll down, you will see somewhere where we say Prisma CRUD in Next.js reference. I added more endpoints. We have already done the post, we have done the read. Now we can read how to get a single item from the database, and you simply use find unique. Okay, so we are going to do the same, but now we are going to go inside. Okay, just simply go into API. So inside the API you have courses, and inside these courses we want to create a new folder, and this folder is going to be ID in the brackets, and then inside it we are going to put a route. So put route.js, just like that. I'm going to simply go inside this one and I get the get route, this. Okay, I'm going to go here. First of all, we have to bring or import some things. First one is next response, this one. So click and press this. Make sure inside on top here you import next response from next server, and then let's also bring our DB, the Prisma instance. Just click and press that and get it from the lib. Okay, so we have these two things here which are very important. Now this is getting a single record. Okay, getting a single record from database. So first of all, we have to have access to the ID, and this one we can get it through params, and then on the params we can also destructure the ID. So we can have the ID extracted in this format. We extract the params, and when we talk about the params, we are trying to mean this one here. When you have contact stroke, this is a param. Okay, so I get params and then I get the ID. So after getting the ID, I want to get a contact. Is going to be await db.contact.find unique. So it is find unique. Okay, and then you pass in where. So here we pass in an object, we say where. Okay, where, and I guess here we pass in the ID. Let me just get it correct from the reference. Okay, so you see find unique, and then we pass in the object of the where. You get, so it's a where, and then we pass in the key we want to use. Okay, so we can just say pass in find unique, then we pass in where ID. Just as simple as that. You pass in the where clause, you pass in the ID, and this ID we are passing in is this ID. So this one will find where ID you have passed in is equal to the ID in the database, and it will find this contact. Of course, you can also do some error handling here. You say if there is no contact, if no contact is found, if no contact, okay, if there is no contact, okay, we can also return a next response, and I'm just going to copy it from here. Okay, just find here a next response of not found. So here is going to be 404 status code. That item is not found. If there is no contact with that ID in the database, message contact not found, not found. Okay, and there is no need of the error, we can just give only the message. Okay, so we have that, and next, if that is found, then we should return it back. So return next response contact. Okay, we can just return that, as simple as that. This stuff here, fetch a contact, fetch contact, everything else remains, fetch contact, everything else remains just like that. Okay, so now let's try it out. Let's see if we can see it in the browser. So to test it in the browser, just go to this where we have 3000 API. Let's pass in an ID. I'm just going to copy this ID here. You can just copy one from the database, the ID, one ID here from the database, and then you test it with. So I'm just going to say stroke. Okay, stroke that. Let's see if we can fetch one single ID, and we have a problem. Okay, so we have localhost API contacts, and we have this ID. Let me see, is this inside the contacts? And the ID, just like that. Let's see the what problem do we have here. Reading something, they are telling us here, reading ID. Okay, okay, type cannot read properties of an undefined. Okay, cannot read properties of an undefined reading ID. So the ID was found undefined. Okay, let's see. Okay, we have to see in the reference. I think this is also supposed to get params ID. Okay, where, and then we have the ID. Really, let me just console.log ID here. Console.log ID, params. So here we get param, export async function get params, and then the params we get the ID. I want console.log this ID, and then here you see we have where await db connect contact.find unique. Okay, so let me just return. For now, I don't want to make a lot of stuff. I'm just going to comment this out. Okay, all that. Let's console.log the ID. I'm just trying to get the ID here, and I'm also going to return the ID just like that. Okay, I don't know why contacts ID is really failing. Let's first go to 3000. contacts. You see this one, if it is working properly. So this one is returning all the contacts. Okay, this one is returning all the contacts very well. But then when we get one single contact here, okay, we have localhost 3000 API contacts, and then we have the ID. It goes just like that. Let's try to troubleshoot the problem. So compiled contacts route cannot read properties of an undefined, and they put reading ID. So that means they cannot find the params. So we can just also search here, but that is it. Next.js 13 API routes. Okay, so you can just always go and make sure you are inside the app router. If you're just using the Next.js documentation, always use the app router, the one of Next.js 13. And I can also search API routes. Okay, API routes, and you can see here we have they show you how to create them. I don't know if we can see the one for route handlers, request, blah blah, pages, using the fetch. This is what we did. So the params and you see they are saying you can get now API app like posts, and then you have like the ID. And then here you just simply destructure it as params, and then you can get the params. I don't know why ours is not working. Let me just look through again. We have the params. How about consoling the params before we destructure the ID, and we see what is happening? Okay, we could just do this, then console.log params. Okay, and then even here, let's see, params. I'm not sure if we just need to return it as a response, but we can console.log it somewhere here. Let's just go ahead and reload this. Okay, so here message is saying fetch contact value not JSON sterilized. Okay, we can just create a fake contact here. Contact const contact is equal to, just have an object which has only the name maybe. Okay, which has only the name, maybe John. Okay, and then just going to return this contact here. Okay, sorry, just return contact, as simple as that. Okay, so now we can also want to look at the params. If you see this one and it is returning John, let's see inside the console this side, what do we have? Let me just try to make this bigger. Compiled and undefined. Okay, so we have params as undefined. Okay, that is very interesting. Are we having the clear route? This it should be inside the contacts. Okay, I guess it is already inside the contacts. Let me try to see it visually. Reveal in file. Yeah, so let's bear it and we just troubleshoot this together. So app API contacts, we have the ID, then we have the route, so we are in the right place, contacts, and then this. Okay, so now it is not getting the params. It is not getting the params get. Let me just go, maybe we can just search here. Let's search about params. Okay, params page, get meta parameters, server components, app router. Okay, route.js. Let's see this, maybe we could find anything. Route handlers allow you to create custom request handlers for route using this web and response. HTTP methods allowed are these ones. Okay, so you get the get. It also takes in a request. Okay, that is also one thing that we can also try. Okay, just scroll down. Okay, just scroll down here, maybe request optional. So when you do, for instance, request and then you have context, then params, this is they are saying here the request object is an object is an extension of the request, blah 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 blah. Then they're saying context optional. Again, I'm seeing they are putting they are getting the params from the context. Then const teams is params.team. Okay, that is something we can also get. Let's use this and see. Let's use this and see. Inside here in the gate, let's get the type annotation request, and then this context, is it defining the params? Type annotations. Okay, so just get the params, and we don't need this. I don't need like maybe the context, I guess. Params, we still have params undefined. I don't know why, because this is how they is supposed to get it. For instance, current the context, the only value of context is params, which is an object containing dynamic parameters. So they are showing you how it is. If you have dashboard, you have this, then you have raw.js. Now this, if you pass in 1, the theme has to be this. You get it? So yeah, so this is should work. I don't know why it is not working. We have the ID, and then we have route. Let's first make sure this ID is created very well. I say have ID, and then inside we have route. Then we should just have this really working. I don't know why. We could have const ID is equal to params dot ID, okay, and we could just console.log these two of them, params and the ID. Let's try again, refresh, because we have our thing here. If you look in the browser, we have localhost, API, contacts, then the ID, okay, then the ID, then it should be working. I'm not sure why. Let me just again check. Compiled. This time we have them. I think we had to pass this request. Okay, you have to have the request, because right now we actually have the ID and we have also the ID. So that is good. So guys, take a note. You have to pass in the request. This request here, you have to pass it in. So you can go ahead and destructure it here. Okay, you can go ahead and destructure, or you can just say const ID is equal ID, just like this, params.id, just like this, or you can destructure the ID. I always like destructuring the ID from it, just like that. Okay, so that I don't have to write this line of code. So right now we are good to go. I can remove all these. Okay, now I can also comment this. So we get a contact by await db.contact.find unique where ID, which is this one, and if there's no contact, we do that. So you just go ahead and this time refresh. Let's refresh. Yep, so now we have the details, we have the ID, we have the name, the phone, and the profile. At least I've not removed that error. You have seen how I have troubleshooted, went to the documentation, searched everything until I came up with the answer. Okay, so it's not just everything working, but sometimes things fail, and then you go to the documentation and try to find where the problem could be. And the problem could be as easy as just like not putting this request, which is even not doing anything, but being there, it is important. Okay, so that one is done. Now we can just simply create an endpoint that is going to use this. Okay, we can create an endpoint. So what we can do, first of all, we go to this detail page. So under the contacts, there is this page with the ID. This is the detailed page here. This one is the detailed page. So first thing, we can first get the params also, because you make sure this is a server side component. So if you don't have use client, by default it is server component. So on top here, so you have the params, and then from the params we can destructure the ID. Okay, and we can now fetch. Okay, I can say const, okay, contact is equal to await. Okay, I can await contact, await fetch. So let's fetch. So we want fetch and let me just go here, put async. Okay, so what are we fetching? We have just copy this. So go to this API, just copy this the way it is, copy it and bring it here, just like that. Okay, so you are fetching this, but then want to pass this ID dynamically. So I'm just going to do, first of all, remove these and make them backticks. So just like that. And we need to make this one just like this, I guess. Is it? A second. We can pass this as backticks. Just simply put this, instead of putting quotes, put backticks. Backticks are on top of below the escape button. Just try to find where your backticks are, and then while there is this ID, let's replace it with this ID we have here. So just come here and put $, okay, ID, as simple as that. So we make this request, and this one can be response. Okay, that is a response, and we just get const contact, okay, is equal to is equal to what? Is equal to response.json, res.json, just like that. Okay, so we can do this. This is await. Make sure you await. So await, and we have this, and this we can just extract this. Instead of writing this logic here, we can extract it and we put it in the libs where we put get contacts. So we can now get also add one more function which says get contact. So in the libs, I'm just going to copy this. Okay, just simply cut this, go to the libs, create another function, new file, get contact.js. So this is this get contacts and get contact rfc. So we have the function, async function, just like that, get contact, and it must take in an ID. Okay, and then here we just simply do this. Okay, we get the response which is doing this fetch, and then we get back the contact, and then we can say return contact. Okay, return contact, as simple as that. So we return the contact. Now we can call this get contact, this function. We can call it inside here where we are doing this, the detailed page of this. So we have this detailed page. We can say get contact. So come here and you say const contact is equal to await get contact. Okay, just come here and import this get contact. You should import this get contact from the libs. Okay, make sure you have imported it on top here. So we have this await get contact. After getting it here, we can now start using it. Okay, so for instance, where there's the image, I'm just going to put the image. So come here, replace this image with contact dot profile. Okay, contact dot profile. Then this alt, you could just say contact dot name, contact dot name. Then you just go back here where there is this name, put contact dot name here. Let's replace this with contact dot name. And then the edit link, you know what to do. So here let's replace it with this, and we also put it into the So this we just do like this, and then we put the ID here by putting dollar, and then we pass contact dot ID. Okay, this is how we are passing it now. And then we have the delete button. Then down here we have the phone, contact dot phone, just like that. And then finally is contact dot email, contact dot email, email. As simple as that. So you have all the data filled in now. Let's go back to the browser, go back here, and let's refresh. Okay, let's refresh. Okay, so you can see the data is changing. We have this Rodriguez thing, and then down we have the phone number, and we have also this one. Just go back to contacts and you see if all contacts are there. So click on the contacts, and let's go to this Thomas Powers. So click that, you have the image, you have this. Okay, if we go to another one, we go like to this guy, click it, and then you have the detailed page working correctly. Okay, we have the detailed page really working correctly. So this is nice. Okay, so in the last episode we are going to show how to edit and delete. Okay, thank you so much for watching this episode. See you in the next episode.